All right, forget everything Hollywood ever told you about castles and chivalry. We are going to dive into what life was really like back in the Middle Ages, and let's be real here, you probably wouldn't last a single day.
You know that fantasy, right? Where you're some gallant knight or a noble lady living it up in a giant castle? It's a fun thought for sure. We get it from movies, from books, but that whole fantasy, it's about to get completely shattered by reality.
So this is the big disconnect. In one corner, you've got the myth, the chivalry, the huge feasts, the fairy tale romance, and in the other corner, the grim reality for pretty much everyone else. Plagues, this gloopy stew called pottage, and oh yeah, brutal public punishments. So yeah, let's spend the next few minutes hanging out in that second column.
Okay, let's do this. Let's start the clock. And congratulations! You've just woken up in the year 1325. Now, the good news is, hey, you're alive. The bad news, so are the fleas, and pretty much everything else that comes with your, charming new home.
Okay, so this is a full-on sensory experience. And trust me, none of it is pleasant. Your bed? It's a straw mattress that smells exactly like a barn floor. Probably because, well, it was a few months back. Your home is just one single room that you share with your entire family, maybe a goat, and just countless parasites. And the smell? Oh, the smell. It's this fragrant symphony of human sweat, livestock, and something you're really hoping isn't mold. But deep down in your soul, you know it is.
So you go to stretch, right? And you immediately regret it. The air is absolutely freezing, and every single joint just aches. You're 22 years old, by the way, which basically makes you middle-aged. Your body's already breaking down from a lifetime of back-breaking labor and just terrible nutrition. Getting out of bed isn't just a chore, it's like a daily gamble with chronic pain.
So somehow you've managed to crawl out of your bed and, well, nature calls. But surprise, there's no bathroom, no toilet. Instead, you might hear someone shouting something in the streets. It's an old French phrase that means watch out below, and you're about to find out exactly why.
Yeah, hygiene back then was, let's just say it was a public and pretty dangerous affair. Your bathroom is a wooden bucket, and it's probably already full. Once you're done, you just toss the contents right into the street. That's right, the street is now an open sewer. And toilet paper? Not a thing. People used straw, leaves, maybe some moss, or sometimes just nothing at all. Seriously, one wrong step when you walk outside, and you're face first in, well, everyone's leftovers.
All right, so you've survived the morning ordeal. You must deserve a nice breakfast, right? Something warm, maybe a little comforting? Nope, sorry. This is medieval Europe. Nothing is comforting here.
So your daily meal is this stuff called pottage. And it's not really a recipe. It's more like an ongoing edible science experiment. Just imagine this thick, gloopy stew of grains and whatever vegetables you can find, and it's been simmering in the same pot for days, maybe even weeks. When you get new ingredients, you just dump them on top of the old stuff. It is a never-ending, gloopy mess.
And on the side, you get this hunk of bread that's so hard you could probably stop an arrow with it. It's usually bulked up with things like sawdust or ground-up acorns. And the secret ingredients? Oh yeah, rat droppings and parasites are pretty much a given. To wash it all down? You're not drinking water, that stuff is full of filth. No, you drink weak ale. Even kids drank it. See, the brewing process actually boiled the water, which made it the safest thing to drink. So yeah, breakfast doesn't really energize you, it's just something that happens to you.
Okay, so now that you're properly underfed, it's time to get dressed. Not that it's going to help much. This next part, it's all about the constant, inescapable itching and discomfort of medieval clothing.
1. Just 1. That is the number of outfits you own. That's it. It's a rough, super scratchy wool tunic that you wear every single day for months, maybe even years. There are no washing machines, there's no real soap, so your clothes are just stiff, stained, and they smell like a compost pile. And all of this means one thing. Your skin absolutely hates you. You're itching constantly because you are, quite literally, a walking ecosystem. You've got fleas, lice, bedbugs, all living rent-free on your body and in your clothes. And here's the kicker. Everyone has them. Nobles, monks, peasants. It doesn't matter. Itching was the great equalizer of the Middle Ages. And what happens if you get a toothache? You don't go to a dentist. Oh no, you go to the barber surgeon. And yes, you heard that right. The same guy who cuts your hair is the guy who's going to pull your teeth out with an iron hook, by candlelight, and with zero anesthesia.
An infected tooth wasn't just painful, it could easily turn into sepsis and, well, kill you.
Okay, so let's recap. You're dressed in misery, your teeth are throbbing, you're covered in bug bites. Guess what? It's time to go to work. And for 90% of the population, that work was basically a slow-motion endurance test.
Your workday is simple and relentless. You get up with the sun and you stop working only when it goes down. 6 days a week. And get this, you don't even own the land you're working on. Under the whole feudal system, you are literally bound to it. You work for the lord of the manor, and in exchange you get a tiny little plot of land to grow your own pottage. Your labor isn't for you. It's an obligation. If you don't work, you don't eat. It really is that simple.
So let's say you get sick. Maybe from the food, maybe you get injured at work. You'd need a doctor, right? Well, too bad. In the Middle Ages, what they called medicine was often just a form of polite torture. And besides, your meal was probably trying to kill you anyway.
Okay, so medieval medicine was all about this thing called the theory of the four humors. So any illness, I'm talking everything from a little cough to the full-blown plague, it was all blamed on an imbalance of these four fluids in your body. So you got a fever? Oh, that's clearly too much blood. And the solution? Bloodletting. Literally draining your life force into a bowl, maybe with a dull blade or a hungry leech.
And hey, speaking of things that could kill you, let's go back to that bread for a second. If it was made from rye, there was a good chance it could be contaminated with something called ergot. It's a fungus, and it causes convulsions, hallucinations, and, yep, death. This quote on screen really sums it up perfectly. Every single bite you took was a gamble.
So you've battled filth, you've battled starvation, you've battled insane medicine, but just when you think your day cannot possibly get any worse, here comes the violence and the justice system, which, frankly, were often the exact same thing.
Life was just brutally short. The average life expectancy, it was somewhere around 30 to 40 years old, and that number is dragged way down by the insane amount of infant mortality. If you actually made it to 40, people would call you the old one. And that wasn't just a nickname, it was basically a statistical miracle.
Justice back then wasn't really about protection. It was more like performance art. The punishments were public, they were brutal, and they were wildly out of proportion to the crime. It was all about social control. You steal a loaf of bread, you could lose a hand. You poach a rabbit from the Lord's land, you could be executed. And how did you prove your innocence? You might have to face a trial by ordeal, like, say, sticking your hand into a pot of boiling water. If it healed up nicely, hey, you were innocent. If not, well, I think you get the idea.
So you see, the simpler times, they weren't simple at all. They were relentless. Everything took longer, everything hurt more, and every single thing, from childbirth to just chewing your food, came with life or death consequences. Life was a constant state of survival. It was not about leisure.
And all of this brings us right back to that first question. After just one single day of filth and pain and pottage, are you still dreaming of being a knight? Yeah, probably not. So maybe the next time you slip into a clean bed, you have indoor plumbing, you have modern medicine, just take a second and maybe say a quiet thank you to your ancestors, the ones who fought rats and famine and feudalism so you wouldn't have to.